On Pesach, we create order and we live in the chaos. We set the stage for the drama to unfold. Order is critical. We make sure everything in our houses just so. We clean and scrub away any hint of chametz. We search out the corners with candlelight, feather, and wooden spoon. We make shopping lists. We write a schedule, a countdown of tasks, week by week, then day by day, then hour by hour, minute by minute, until the doorbell rings. By now, the table is gleaming and the house smells delicious. Everything is just so. The matzah is whole. The clothes are fresh. The flowers stand tall. Order is established. There may even be place cards, carefully curated instructions at the table so that this one can be close to this one and so that this one can be far from that one. Seder means order. The Haggadah provides us with an order, a 15-stepped structure to carry out the ritual and to keep the storytelling moving along, unfolding from degradation to praise to redemption. Dip this, lift that, break this, point to that, taste this, lean left, dip again, wash, ask, drink, wash again, open the door, drink again, bless, eat, pour, open the door again, sing and sing and sing again. The Seder is so highly organized, so highly ritualized, but within the structure of it all, there is chaos. Wine glasses topple, the tablecloth is stained with charoset, and the bindings of the Haggadot are filled with crumbs. While the blessings and the songs may be scripted for us, and many verses are known by heart, between the lines of the script, there is a constant, chaotic undercurrent. Many tangents are taken for discussion in this direction, debate, colliding and clashing. One person may interject with a memory, two over at the end of the table take up a hushed sidebar conversation intended for everyone else to notice but for no one to hear. Our story is a story of injustice and release, of human struggle and divine rescue, of hesitation and the courage to advance into the chaotic unknown. Of course, it is told and retold in fits and starts. That's the only way a story like this could be told. A jolting time machine, traveling past, present, future tense, and back again. We find ourselves at the study table of Rabban Gamliel, and then we find ourselves in Pharaoh's palace, and then at the shores of the sea, and then next year in Jerusalem. At the table, we grow older and younger simultaneously. At the table, we keep company with the living and the dead simultaneously. We introduce the living to the dead. Oh, my darling, look at this little one. Do you hear his first question? That is your legacy. And we introduce the dead to the living, saying, try this. It's my booby's recipe. It's the best. Just a taste, you'll love it. When we overlay order on top of chaos, we are mimicking the divine. God is the one who brings order out of chaos when creating the universe. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. God began to create heaven and earth when the earth was tohu vavohu, a watery, chaotic mess of a place, with darkness over the surface of the deep and a wind from God sweeping over the water. This ordering of a watery world is mirrored in what we just read moments ago, the splitting of the sea, the ordering of the raging waters of the sea. Order is established at the very beginning, and if we're lucky, we see it time and time again in the story of our people and in our own lifetimes. While the table is set to perfection and our Haggadah is the container, the ancient frame strong enough to hold the chaotic story, the moment we begin the Seder, we are introduced into aimlessness. My father was a wandering Aramaean. And had God not redeemed you, you would still be a slave in Egypt. The Haggadah teaches us to notice the lucky breaks and the near misses. We don't deny them. We sing another rounding chorus of Dayenu. It would have been enough. We didn't see it coming. Thank you, O God, Dayenu. And this messy, chaotic storytelling of our people, of our Seder, this is how memory works. As we're approaching Yizkor, we know that memory is not linear. Memory does not run in a straight line. We may organize and label our photo albums, line them up neatly on the shelf, but archives are not the same as memory. Memory is a wonderful and strange clash of order and chaos, repetition and disruption, just like the Seder. There are people we remember so clearly, not because we actually knew them. They were gone long before we came around. But we remember them because we were told stories of them. And then there are people we only remember in a flash of a memory, in the most unexpected of ways, a teacher, a neighbor, an old boyfriend. Maybe when we're driving down the highway and a waft of a scent comes in through the window, or a song comes in over the radio, we're taken back in an instant to a moment, to an experience, to a feeling that we had long forgotten, but somehow become so real and so very close again. That can be the way with memory. And other times, memory is not fast or fleeting. Memory can be slow and lingering, an enveloping wave of remembering who we were when the people who shared our lives with us were still in our lives. That kind of remembering can be an ache, a longing for. And we mourn not only the loss of that person from this world, but we also mourn the person that we were when we were with them. Yizkor is not only for remembering and honoring our beloved dead, but also for remembering and honoring who we were with them and acknowledging how we have changed without them. Sometimes in a planned and orderly way, change comes, and sometimes in a chaotic, swirling way, change comes. And good people, you know that what is true on the personal level is often true on the collective as well. The order and chaos of remembering our own stories today mirror the order and chaos of how we remember the story of our people. Do you remember when we gathered last for Yizkor? Shmini Atzeret, October 7th, 2023, a lifetime ago. Do you remember when the news was beginning to trickle in? Do you remember when I announced from this bima that there was an invasion by land, sea, and sky, and that 50 people were murdered? Do you remember feeling overwhelmed by the enormity of that number? We could never have imagined how that number would grow. And we prayed that day, Anna Adonai Hoshiana, Anna Adonai Hatzlichana, eternal God save us, eternal God sustain us. And we prayed for rain, and we prayed for wind to wash the world clean and to sweep away the pain. We prayed, livracha v'lo liklala, for blessing and not for curse. Lisova v'lo lirazon, for blessing, for abundance and not for scarcity. L'chaim v'lo lemavet, for life and not for death. And now, 6.5 months later, God help us, 134 bodies and souls are still held captive. And a piece of us is held captive there too. The ritual of Yizkor on holy days came out of the Crusades, when entire villages were decimated and the survivors needed the Sidur, like Seder, to order their grief and to order their prayers when their world was no longer recognizable. In the wake of the pogrom of October 7th, when 1,200 human beings were slaughtered and more than 240 children, women, and men were abducted into captivity, we too need the Sidur to order our grief, to order our prayers, to order our shock and our longing when the world is nearly unrecognizable. Since Shmini Atzeret, our world has devolved into disorder. So today, we make a little order, and we make room in this container of this sanctuary to hold the memories of the murdered. And we place their memories of their beautiful lives right next to the memories of our own dear ones. We hold them together. And we also make room to mourn who we were on October 6th. That confidence has been lost under a sweeping wave of hatred. That innocence has been buried under a pile of rubble. An anonymous Israeli graffiti artist wrote this in large black letters on an exterior wall of a building in Tel Aviv. Who were you on October 6th? What did you dream of before the nightmare began? What made you feel safe before the fear? What made you smile before the pain? What did you long for before the grief? Before you lost your appetite and didn't even notice? Before the world shattered into pieces? Do you miss the way it was? Do you miss who you used to be? Do you recognize yourself at all? 6 months have gone by, but a lifetime has passed. And along with the thousands of names I've grieved since, I must finally lay to rest the person that I was on October 6th. Just a week ago, we approached this holy day with trepidation. The dissonance between the festival of freedom and the suffering of our people seemed too great to bear. We were reluctant to approach the Seder table where all was beseder, everything was in order. Hakol beseder, it's all in order. But we did. Somehow we found our way to that table, and it helped. And we found our voice, and we found our song, and we found our memories. And now that we have lived a week in this Zman Chevurteinu, this time of our freedom with its promises of hope and redemption, we don't want to leave it. I don't want to let go of Pesach. Our Hallel is honest, both in its praise and in its lament. Though they swarm about me like bees, in the name of God, I will overcome them. Like a blaze in a fire among thorns, in the name of God, I will overcome them. This swirling, chaotic world, it's time to turn soon away from Pesach and to face that world again. Soon we will return to organizing and mobilizing. We will return to advocating and demonstrating. We will give generously. We will volunteer wholeheartedly. We will return to the work of bringing order to chaos as best we know how. And we will do our best to bring calm to these turbulent waters, justice and clarity to replace slander and confusion, and freedom to those held captive. But for now, for just one more sacred moment, let us turn to the mitzvah of memory, however it comes. Perhaps in order, perhaps in a swirling round, but let it come. David sang, "O God, you are my rock and my fortress. You are my refuge where I will take shelter." And that is what this sacred hour is for. That is what this sacred place is for. That is what this sacred memory is for.